Right, so here we are with a book review. King Rat by James Clavell, or Clavell, I don't know how it's pronounced. I think it was his first book. He's the famous writer of Shogun that's recently been televised. So, a story of survival from the author of Tai-Pan and Shogun. Right, so just a quick read of the blurb. Terrifyingly exciting suspense, Ian Fleming. It's a bit of a shout out, isn't it? During the Second World War, the key British bastion in Asia was Singapore. The fall of the city meant the loss of the East Indies and of the Allied armies. Nearly 150 young men were captured, and only 1 in 15 was to survive the 3.5 long years to VJ Day. Set in Changi, the most notorious POW camp in Asia, King Rat is a heroic story of survival. This fictionalised account comes from a master storyteller who lived through those years as a young soldier. King Rat shows how only 1 man in 15 had the strength, luck or cleverness that meant survival, why only 1 man was king and why he was an American. Yeah, so it's a very, very good read. It's, James Clavell was in Changi, and obviously he's drawn on his experience there. It's, he was there for 3.5 years. So, they were often very young men. So it would have felt like a lot longer. It would have, it's longer than going to university. So it would have been, a huge chunk of their lives, say from 21 to 25 nearly. And, it would have been part of what made them. I think James Clavell is on record as talking about, when he said only 1 man would be king, and he was an American. I think he's on record of saying that it's kind of based on a real person. And yeah, I don't want to give too many spoilers away, why it's called King Rat. There's 2 different branches for that. But there was a culture clash, not just the Westerners, European, the British and the Americans. One culture clash was with the Japanese. The Japanese hated anybody who surrendered. They thought it was beneath them, so they looked down at them. They're very, very cruel at times. Very cruel. So that's in there. Obviously, you've got, the background of it being hot, the jungles nearby. There's a bit of interaction with the Japanese, but the main interaction in the book is between the English young officer, who's probably based on himself, and this American, and it was a culture clash. So the British were, quite posh, the officer class. Everything was to do with rank. So everything had to be cleared by officers. The Americans were a lot more gung-ho. And this king, the American who was called King, he operated differently. He operated outside of that. He had his rank through trading inside. And the British hated this. They thought it was, not right that he was trading with the locals, with the Japanese in the camp. It was a lot more, things should be shared, whereas he was into trading and looking after himself. And, he was fit and healthy via his skill in trading, whereas, obviously people were struggling for food. And so it's really is a very interesting book. And then you have the rat element, which is part of it. And yeah, it's just a great snapshot of history and yeah, the different cultures, the clashes between all the different cultures, camp life, and I think less so in this one than his other books is kind of an overriding, what's the word, like a novel, because it's based more on reality, whereas Shogun and Tai-Pan are a bit more of a kind of storytelling arc. This does have a storytelling arc, but it's not kind of as contrived as his others. So definitely a great read. So give it a go. Hope you enjoy it. King Rat by James Clavell. Yeah, so this is for a read along. If he's remembered, I forgot for a long while. With Hiram Reed. So go check out his channel. Interesting guy. That's of course if you can find him. Bye now.